Hello everyone, welcome to Card Making Fundamentals and welcome to the Butterflies and Borders classroom. Today we're going to be creating with our lesson kit, and we are going to be creating happy Friday first of all, but we're going to be creating with lesson kit number 3 from our lesson kits. Now I am going to go ahead and take that lesson kit out right now. And then we're going to go ahead and go over the supplies that we need to create with our lesson kit. You are going to need a die cutting machine. We are going to do a little bit of die cutting, but again, if you don't have a die cutting machine, that's not a big deal. You can stamp instead of die cut, which makes it really convenient. But you are going to need scissors. We're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting, so grab your scissors. You're going to need a craft pick, and you're going to need a tape runner. And if you don't have a die cutting machine, you're going to need an acrylic block to do your stamping. And then you're also going to need, I think that's it. Pretty basic supplies again. So not too much, but you will again need your die cutting machine. So let's put all of this aside and jump in with lesson kit number 3. Lesson kit, our last lesson was a long one. Last Friday's lesson was pretty long, but this one's going to be a little bit quicker. And of course, keep your bag. I always forget to add my card to the bag. Hopefully, I was going to say remind me, but hopefully I won't forget because it'll fit in there beautifully. But we have our embellishment bag, and then we have all of the elements for the front of our card. Now we have a border or background that has a lattice border. This is going to go around our entire card front. So that's what we're going to do to start off our project. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to reinforce that score line, and then we're going to add some glue behind our lattice background. So let's take our card making fundamental glue and just go around the edges. This is an A2 panel, so it's going to fit your card front beautifully, and I'm going to add a little glue to the center here. Let's go ahead and pick this up and add this to the very front of our card base, and it lines up beautifully. I'm going to hold it down for a few seconds so it will grab. I love tone-on-tone backgrounds like this because it just reminds me of maybe like an embossed detail, and so using your die cuts for your background creates a lot of texture too, and just gives your card a quality feel. Okay, after we have this done, we're going to take our butterflies that are in our panel. This is a 3x4 panel. We're going to take this and use our scissors, and we're going to fussy cut those butterflies out. Now again, if you don't want the antenna and don't want to fuss with them, you can cut the antenna out. I think it wouldn't really make it that big of a difference. But when you cut out your butterflies, you want to leave a little bit of a border. It just makes it easier. When I cut, I always like to turn my paper. I am gonna cut my antenna out. When I get to the top, I kind of curve it around, go down the middle, and then I'll go around the side here, and then I go back up around the butterfly. Not much room around those antennae, but that's okay. And then we'll go around the bottom of the wings. And one is good to go. We'll do the second one. Leaving a little bit of a border. So how are you guys doing? I am finally feeling like I can breathe a little bit with I'm actually working on next month's classroom kit, and I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it. But I feel like I'm finally getting caught up. I took 10 days off, and so I was a little bit behind. I had all my work done prior to vacation, but sometimes the work before and the work after is just tremendous. So but I feel like I can breathe now. And there's our butterflies. They're one slightly smaller than the other. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my little trash bin. Okay, butterflies are die cut out. Now we have this strip, before I forget, this polka dot strip of pattern paper. Let's flip this around and we're going to use our tape runner and adhere this about 1/2 inch from the left of our card, and we're going right over our lattice. And this is okay to do. Layers are so nice. You can all actually kind of use the V's as an orientation guide to make sure that your pattern paper is straight. Let's trim that off. Then we have some polka dots off to the side here. Now we're going to go ahead and open up our embellishment bag and take everything out. There's some little hearts in there. You don't want to lose them. They're pretty itty bitty. You don't want to lose those. Set those aside. What we need to take is the grid line circle, and then using our dies and that comes with our stamp set, we're going to make a friendship card, just because hello card, actually a hi card. So I'm going to take the letters. Make sure your grids are up and down. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And then we're going to line them up in the center of our circle here. And I'm going to butt them together. And if you want to use your tape again, sometimes it's just so much easier using your tape. And I'll tell you what, take your tape, add your H along the very bottom edge of it, and then take your I and do the same and make sure they're right next to each other. But not overlapping. Making sure that they're straight. We don't want no crooked letters. I don't know how I got my G crooked last time. So we have it like this, and then, okay, I am going to do a rewind. Now I did a rewind on my video because I don't want what happened to me to happen to you guys. After you line up your dies on your tape, take your scissors and cut around and just leave a little bit of that tape showing, because I added too much on my cardstock, and when I lifted it, it took away the first layer of pattern paper when I die cut it. Okay, so I rewound my video so you guys would skip this step. But trim down your tape that you lined up your letters on, and then tack it down. You don't need that much adhesive to cut your sentiment out. And line it up in the middle, and then we can run this through the die cut machine. This way you have less chance of it tearing. Okay, so I ran that through. I'm going to keep my letters because this way I can use them for another project. But carefully, carefully, carefully lift up your letters from your paper. Carefully, carefully. Because, again, mine tore the first time. So, I did have to do a little editing with the video because I did not want you to tear your paper. So just trim the sides of your tape here. Now we're going to take our high that we just die cut, flip it around, add some adhesive. If you want to use your glue, you can. We're going to add a little adhesive behind here, and then we're going to layer this on our gray circle. They're both the same size. Okay, after we have this done, I want to add some stitch detail to this. Now, a white gel pen wouldn't show up, but I'm just going to use a gel marker. Any kind of gel marker you have would work fine. I'm using my little Sharpie gel pen, and we're going to just add some black faux stitching around our circle here. Now, gel markers will smear, so once you add the stitch lines, don't hold it with your hands. Hold the center because it will smear. I think stitch detail just makes a lot of difference. Kind of pulls everything together too. Kind of old school, but I like old school. Well, I'm an old school kind of girl. Now I'm almost done with my faux stitching, and we'll set that aside to dry, okay? And then I'm going to put my letters back so I don't lose them. And then I'm put my high inside my storage package here. I have a little bit of a collection going. I could probably make another card with that. Okay. After we have this done, we're going to work on our centerpiece. We're going to take our polka dot pattern paper and our floral pattern paper. We're going to flip this around, add some adhesive behind here. And then we're going to tack down almost to the very top our polka dots. I have a little bit of adhesive on the back side, but oops, that's okay. Okay, now we have a ribbon, and I just love this ribbon because it has on the thinner side, and it really makes nice knots. But I'm going to add this over the seam. If you want to add a little bit of your tape runner or adhesive behind the back, you can to help secure it. I had a little bit left over from when I added the polka dots. But I'm going to tie a knot off to the left here, about 1/2 inch from the left. And then I hold it down, and then we'll flip it around and bring this through. And then we have a nice little knot. And then we can trim off the tails just a little bit. And I like to go at an angle. Nice alternative. My knot has not the tightest, but that's okay. I can always add adhesive on the back side. And we can kind of pull it forward. Kind of tightening it up that way. Okay, so we have our bow. Might need to trim this a little bit more. So the tails of the bow should be even. I think it looks a lot nicer. Okay, once we have this done, we're going to go ahead and flip this around, and we're going to add some adhesive behind here. And then I'm going to tack this down on our card base, and I want to bring this, I'm actually going to use my scissors, and I'm going to trim off about 1/2 inch from the top. So using the guide, the lines on the top, I'm cutting off at the second line. I was afraid it was covering up my lattice, and I kind of like the way my lattice looks, so I'm going to cut off 2 lines. I'll show you. And then we can add our background. Wonderful. Now we're going to take our vellum, our scalloped vellum. I'm going to add some adhesive behind here, and then we can tack our circle right in the center of our vellum, kind of creating a flower. And then we'll add a couple foam circles. We'll just remove the release paper. And then make sure your high is right side up, and we're going to put this I think here is a good spot. Almost to the edge here. Just make sure your high is even. We're going to flip over our butterflies, fold them in half. That way they have a little bit of fluttering, we're going to take, I'm going to use 2 of my foam squares and add them to the back of my butterflies. And then we can remove the release paper. And I'm going to add our big one up here on this, at an angle in this corner. And then I'll add our smaller one, which is not much smaller, but and I'm going to add it right over here. We're covering up some of the flowers, but that's okay. Now we have 4 little of those tiny little hearts, and I'm going to add 2 to, or just maybe just 1, and we're going to make it the head of the butterfly. How about just 1? Put it at the very top where the antenna meets the butterfly body. We'll put the other 2 little pearl hearts, we'll put those in our little extra bag, and then we're going to bring in our sequins. And for this card, I think we're going to use our white ones. Let me see. I'm going to use my craft pick to pick them up here. Actually, yeah, I'm going to use my white ones. I don't want to take away from our butterflies, and I think it might look too busy. I'll put one down here. And one more up here. I think that's a good spot. I'll funnel these back in there. And then once I find my sequin placement, I can add my glue here. So we'll just add a little dot of glue. If you want to use tweezers again, or a wax pencil. I can't find mine. I hope my girls didn't think it was a regular pencil. I have teenage daughters who like to come into my craft room, and they don't put stuff back. Okay, that will finish off our card. Fluff up those wings, and then that will finish off our card. Kind of not too dimensional. Let me grab my envelope here. I didn't forget this time, but I don't know if the envelope will fit in that bag, but let's try it out. For storage. I always store my cards in plastic bags. I just think it's oh yeah, it'll fit, guys. It'll fit nice and neat. You can store your project in your plastic bag. So that's another reason why I started putting the lesson kits on our little embellishments, so you could see your project. But that is project number 3 from our lesson kit, the Butterflies and Borders lesson kit for Card Making Fundamentals. Thanks for joining me. I'm having a blast with you guys, and I appreciate all of your comments. They've been so wonderful and uplifting. They always make me smile. And we'll see you next Friday. Next Friday, our class will begin on July 22nd. So our last, I think we have 5 Fridays this month, but this will be July 22nd will be lesson kit number 4, our final project for the month, and then we'll have a new kit coming soon. Have a great day. We'll see you soon, guys. Bye bye.